Thank you for joining our virtual presentation on Colorado Skies Academy. This video is broken into 3 parts: this introduction, the Colorado Skies Academy creation story, and the story of how our design team brought this project to life. You'll undoubtedly see the passion that everyone involved in this project brought to the table. You'll also hear about the hurdles facing charter schools as they navigate the logistical and financial challenges along the way. Achieving project success like this requires a great team from top to bottom, and there's no doubt that the team that created Colorado Skies Academy is top flight.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Booster ignition and liftoff of Discoverer's Rex. Its 7-year mission to boldly go to the asteroid.
This is the art of the possible, and this is the future. When you look in their eyes and you see the expression and their excitement about what they're doing, what they're learning, that is going to set them up for high school success. And obviously, if they choose to go to college, it'll be even better for that. It really is the art of the possible and understanding what the unique time this is for aerospace. And then the students that we have here in Colorado Skies Academy, they have the motivation. Choice is ownership, ownership's motivation, motivation's success. And the kids are choosing to come here, and they're excited about aerospace because they can see it, smell it, touch it, hear it every day. And that, I think, is going to go a long way to guarantee that they are successful.
What an amazing opportunity this school is. What an opportunity to really show that you do have the right stuff, that you could build something that has never been built before.
I want Colorado Skies Academy to be the place where the aviation and aerospace industry goes to first, when they have ideas about new things that they want to explore, when they have different kinds of trainings or different concepts that they want to try out on America's future businesswomen and businessmen.
In fall 2019, Colorado Skies Academy opened its doors to learners in grades 6 through 8, bringing a new project-based learning opportunity to families in the greater Arapahoe area. Authorized by the Cherry Creek School District and located adjacent to Wings Over the Rockies Blue Sky Gallery, the school opened in modular buildings while construction commenced on the school's permanent campus.
It's project-based learning, and your kid doesn't have to sit at a desk all day, and there's hands-on projects, and you get to see planes fly by.
In September 2020, classes began at the new permanent campus, the culmination of several years of planning and work by a team of educators and aviation industry professionals.
Oh, this is groundbreaking. This is something new. This is something that your kid can be a part of, right? This isn't just a school; it's a community. It's an experiment, but so far it's a very successful one. It says that even with our own 2 kids, they both have very different styles of learning and ways that they need to be given information and how they process it. And so what draws me to this idea is every kid has the opportunity to learn as themselves, right? It's an individual learning program, so they're taught to their level based on where they're at and how they need that information, but still in a group classroom setting. And I think that's pretty remarkable.
A key figure in the development and launch of CSA was retired U.S. Air Force Major General John Barry.
They're here because they're interested in being pilots or astronauts or engineers or whatever they want to do. They're excited about coming to school every day, learning what they want. I've been the president and CEO of Wings Over Rockies for about 2.5 years, but before that I was on the board for 7 and we was chair for 2. So this has been a long-time vision of the board to be able to put an education program here, but really to have one organization in 2 locations. So now we have Lowry, the old Air Force base that closed down in 1994. So we've been there 25 years. Now I've been here for about a year now. And this 15 acres allows us to be able to explore the art of the possible, the present and future of aviation and space, and not just the past, as most museums are focused. To see a plan come to fruition is always, the culmination of a lot of work by a lot of people. We have an amazing team, this partnership we've had with iLead and now the Colorado Skies Academy and the leadership that we selected there. You know, we're expecting great things. I mean, this is historic in so many ways, and we'll set an example, I think, that'll you know, bring the nation to a full understanding of what the art of the possible is for kids to understand about aerospace.
Back in 2016, Chris Hines, the architect who designed the building that Colorado Skies is in, we had worked with him on a couple of projects in our iLead schools before Maker Learning Network was around. He knew General John Berry, and he was looking around for different models of schools, and he thought that we might be a good fit because General Berry was looking for project-based learning. And then General Berry toured one of the schools in the iLead network, and he seemed to think it was a fit. So then we started moving forward from there, figuring out together how to create this new concept called Colorado Skies Academy.
What sold me on wanting to be a part of this project, honestly, was the passion and the vision that General Berry brought forward. He also believed in project-based learning, hands-on learning, and the importance of social-emotional learning. And that was clear when he was talking with us. I've been in education for 36 years, and it takes special souls to take on the middle school kids. However, once you're with them, you see how bright they are, how interested they are, and how curious they are. So it is the exact perfect time to grab them, grab their interests, and really, really, really work with them on aerospace, science in general, math, areas where, as a nation, I think we could probably strengthen ourselves. But I do want to mention the Colorado Skies Academy Board. They work tirelessly, and they really hold that mission and vision. Before the school started, they were boothing. They were spreading the word. They were working now on fundraising. They are also supporting and helping to guide their school leader. Their school leader, Suzanne, she deserves a mention by name because she does work tirelessly to make this the best school possible and to make this a place where kids really want to come and get engaged every single day.
It took 3 years from the moment that that vision was kind of presented out there, and number of different partnerships between Wings of the Rockies, Maker Learning Network, Hollis and Miller, D.A. Davidson, various organizations in Colorado, as well as larger community of parents and people who really wanted to find and develop a new innovative school in the state of Colorado. Our biggest challenge was basically trying to explain how this will benefit not just the learner and parent population of Colorado Skies Academy, but also add additional value and tremendous partnership to the local school district and the community to help them achieve the necessary transformation in the educational process.
Always wanted to have a school in a museum. So when I found that part out, and then we had an incredible leader that was interested in partnering with us, no-brainer to be part of it. I hope Colorado Skies Academy can serve as a model for other schools and programs to really delve deeply into two things. One, social, emotional, and project-based learning, which are the specialty of the Maker method and Maker Learning Network, and also the aerospace industry. There's so many unique things about those two pieces coming together, and there's so much opportunity for young learners to really seek out all the different facets of what can be done.
It takes a long time to develop a school like this. It takes a long time to take that vision, imagine it, and then work on it until it becomes a reality. But observing the process and going through that grind, and then at the tail end seeing the happy faces of those learners in their classrooms and participating in the projects, I think that is the main thing that basically keeps us all going in this eternal quest on making the education better.
A unique feature of Colorado Skies Academy is its location. With its opening, it marked the first public middle school in the nation located on a working airport. First opened in 1968, Centennial Airport is one of the nation's busiest general aviation airports.
Airplanes. It's one thing to be in a classroom, it's another thing to actually have the practical experience, not only just the project-based stuff, but to walk out on the ramp, walk out and see airplanes fly and be amazed by how all of this technology actually lifts off the ground and, you know, defies gravity.
It's not easy being the forerunners, doing something new that's never been done, especially in education. So to be, Colorado Skies is a school that partners with an aerospace museum that's located right on an airstrip, that is deciding to approach the standards that we're required to hit in public school through the lens of aerospace. This has never been done before. We have STEM schools, we have aviation schools, but nothing like this. So this is a hallmark for the community, for Cherry Creek School District, for the Colorado community. It's an opportunity to be a forerunner, to say, hey, here's an idea of a model of education that could be replicated in another field as well. And that is an amazing opportunity for the kids, for the families, for the educators, for the school district, for the community, for the state. And then for all of us who are in education, how could we do something different that might be scary, but might knock it out of the park? There are a lot of kids who would be amazing engineers or pilots or mechanics who just don't have the horizon. They don't have an idea that those careers even exist. And that's what this school does. It broadens the horizon for children to see where they may fit ingeniously in the world, to bring their own specific gifts to the world in the realm of aerospace.
And if we can get them in the STEM careers right now, whether it is aerospace or something else within anything with STEM, they will have so many opportunities throughout high school that they can be ready going into college, having so many more experiences. So giving them the skills right now before they even make it to college, they're going to be so much farther along than we were.
My son didn't thrive particularly well in a traditional school environment, and I thought that the project-based social emotional learning experience that CSA is providing is the perfect vehicle for him to continue with his learning experience. Because as a parent of a student who's excited about what we're doing here, to hear the same feedback from parents, it's not necessarily surprising, but it is heartwarming to get that feedback and know that what we're doing here and all the work that went into it and all the work that continues to go into it is paying off, because we're doing this for our kids, and there's no better reason to do something than doing it for your own kids.
Colorado Skies Academy is a school that provides students with the opportunity to grow, to learn, to see what they like about aviation and aerospace, to make connections to content areas that they never thought had any connection with aviation or aerospace. It can connect to art, it can connect to fine art, it can connect to science, of course, and math, but also English if you want to write about airplanes, if you want to write about aerospace. It's education that matters, and it's education that's real.
Design and planning for a charter school need to happen hand in hand with the application process. Plans for tenant improvement or new construction need to be shovel-ready when the application is filed, so when the application is approved, implementation can move forward swiftly. Once the district has approved the charter, the clock starts ticking. The organization must be ready to close on real estate, begin construction, and mobilize on all other efforts. They also need to turn their attention to enrolling learners quickly. Having a clear illustrated plan of what the building will look like and what the completion date is will be critical to decision makers.
With charter schools, the budget and timeline become really critical because the charter school might not have the same resource support base that a district school might have. One of the strategies we had to use with Colorado Skies Academy as a charter school was to make sure that we could get the students started on the school year as soon as possible. So we proposed some modular buildings to be put on site first. and then come back and build the permanent building while the kids are already in session.
The modulars allowed us to have a thorough design process. We were able to delve more into the design and have the time to create the correct and right solutions for the school and for the learning environments, and then allowed construction to take the time that they needed while the school was still able to open and facilitate learning.
Every charter organization has a vision, and that vision is what captivates learners and their families and pulls them into the program. Having a facility design that conveys that vision and supports the learning model is key to a good educational strategy. In order to bring these visions to life, we have a process called co-create. And the co-create process is where we work with key stakeholders to understand your educational vision, understand the spaces that are going to support that vision, and how to bring all of those pieces together to fit your budget.
Well, one of the designs of the building was to be able to have an open air kind of environment, but also have an exploratorium that is where the kids can do. Now, it's more than just a computer lab. It is more than just a makerspace. Which is also available too, where hands-on experience can be provided. If it was a traditional schoolroom with a whiteboard in the front and seats and desks for students to go, I don't think it would invite that innovative spirit, that excitement that I think the future holds for young people to think outside the box. So I think the building design allows you to have that kind of focus on what is in the art of the possible. What I can think of new ways of doing things, and I'm doing practical applications of what I've learned academically, but now I'm actually building something or touching something or flying in something or talking to someone who's connected to the aerospace industry. And that's why it's so important for the principal and the teachers who are involved in making that happen. And their excitement is transferred down to the young people, who then are allowed to be able to make the project-based learning focus in a building that's designed to allow for that kind of growth.
One of the beautiful things with Hollis & Miller is that there is a lot of similarities in how your organization runs and how our organization runs. Collaboration is very vital and key to all of your interactions. And it's the same for I Lead and Maker Learning Network. And through that, all of the schools that we work with, we are really big on collaboration. So making sure stakeholders are involved, making sure the staff is involved so they know what's happening and what's coming, and any adjustments that we need to make for the program and how they think they're going to be able to utilize the spaces gets brought up at the beginning and not at the end. Being collaborative is a very synergistic experience with Hollis & Miller, and that's one of the things that we value.
Oftentimes the relationship with the charter school and the district is a brand new one, and so you have to be flexible. There will be challenges. There's going to be things that need to change and need to be addressed, and so we adapt our schedule. We will change whatever is necessary in order to make sure all parties are satisfied.
There's space matters. Like how your spaces look impact kids' behavior. So if your space looks like a prison, you're going to get prisoners. So you're going to get kids who act like prisoners. And so if your spaces look like a fun space where it's engaging and creative and inspirational and they can let their imaginations go, they're going to let their imaginations go. And ultimately that's what we want, is for them to figure out who they are, what they love, what they're passionate about, and let them just take flight. That's ultimately what it's about.
The top priority that we brought to the table when we were working with Skies was they know their culture and their pieces and the language that they want to use to communicate that. And when I joined the project, the architects were already full steam ahead with what this space was going to look like. And so my goal was to work with Jeff and Elaine from Maker Learning Network and take their parts and pieces and adjust and adapt them to fit this aerospace feeling that the architecture had introduced, the materials with the translucency and different color palette, and kind of reimagine the Maker Learning Network pieces specific to Skies.
We are very big on culture and building a culture that is collaborative. It's not top down. It's very much independent and autonomous for the learners. It's learner led. So the focus is that the kids are responsible for their experience, their behavior, and their environment. So one of the key ways that we do this is through cultural graphics. We have some legacy pieces that we have done at all of our schools. That includes like the Maker Wall, our learning engine, which really talks about the program and digs into the why of the program and the why of the design of the spaces. So these pieces are pretty key so that when people come in and tour the spaces and they start to look at it, because our schools are not typical. So when they walk in, their first is like, this is a school. And then when they start to see the legacy cultural signage and they say, oh, okay, this starts to make sense because now we have defined why these spaces exist the way that they exist and why they're designed intentionally the way that they're designed. So it breaks it down and provides that kind of tour experience in a museum, that feel, but we have to make sure that our cultural signage is accounted for in the design process. And so one of the lessons learned was that we have to begin that process early on, and that we have to make sure that our architecture is accounting for some of those bigger spaces, for some of the wall graphics that are pretty large, and making sure that we have those spaces available to be able to do our wall graphics. And getting that process kind of started at the beginning as opposed to the end really makes a huge difference overall with the cultural graphics and the application and installation at the end of the job.
How we came in is we knew the new space that we were working in. We knew how it was going to be broken up and found opportunities for some of those pieces that they already had and opportunities on how we can make it their own. We also went back and forth on style and look of what would look best with the architecture from a color palette point of view, but then also a materialistic point of view, and came up with something that was very unique to Skies and the topic that they were teaching there, because it is so specific and unique.
A lot of the interior layout for Colorado Skies Academy was driven by their kind of most important core spaces, some of those being the Village, which is their cafeteria and event space, the Exploratorium, which is their kind of STEAM and activity space that has a lot of their kind of digital and media that they do, and then also the Makerspace. And the Makerspace specifically has both a workshop for woodworking and creating models of airplanes and spaceships and things like that, as well as an instructional space. And then another really important thing for Colorado Skies Academy on their interior design was the collaborative spaces in between the classrooms. So every grade has their own collaborative space that allows the grade to meet as a whole. So those were the things that we were trying to really focus on and keep important while we were organizing the spaces.
I think one of the joys of working with Skies is that their vision is looking at education of the future. They're looking at openness and collaboration and a real integration of the education with the space. So they really rely on a space that allows those students to collaborate. So as an architectural design team, our joy gets to be how do we work with the program and create that collaborative space and look towards what the future of education might be at the same time.
Security is a top priority, and understanding how to create spaces that support the learning model and collaboration, but also allow students to find a secure place at any given time, are critical for creating educational facilities in this day and time.
Some of the challenges with keeping an open collaborative space with the lens of security was that we wanted to keep the collaborative space in the classrooms open to one another, but we also wanted those classrooms to be safe and secure in a lockdown situation. So one of the ways we solved that was with overhead coiling doors that are open during the day and can also shut during a security situation.
A lot of the design elements, as we were going through the process, we were thinking of what kind of textures and materials, what kind of gleam or shine, you know, where does metal belong, where does wood belong, how are these elements arranged, what kind of formal geometries do we use to help convey sort of that aerospace, high-tech kind of a feel. You know, so we've got elements like the Exploratorium, which is a rocket booster shaped piece on the school. There is a clear plexiglass wall that has structural framework similar to what a launch pad might look like, you know, even down to the diffusers for the mechanical systems, where they have this kind of orb shape that can be maneuvered and turned to different directions. So we're providing functional elements that also support that aerospace aesthetic.
Some other elements that we built in were cave spaces that have the planets of the solar system on the back of them, as well as a scale model of the solar system that is actually on the floor. So I believe every 5 feet is equal to 1 astronomical unit. The whole theme was meant to inspire students and create this atmosphere of being inspired by the things around them, as well as a feeling of collaboration and community.
My favorite part is that the big window door things, it lets you like look outside. You can watch the planes go by while you're eating lunch with your friends. And I also like how the classrooms are basically, they're not fitted just to be specific for one kind of class, but they're very flexible. Basically, if you're in like a group project, you can sit on the steps and you can kind of walk over to other people in the group, talk to people. It's really nice to have this nice space that you can even like talk to people in other classes, you know, like talk to your friends, because I have a bunch of friends that are in different classrooms. So, and then also the little like planet cutout things that are behind the learning stairs, you can kind of take like a moment to relax and kind of, I don't want to say curl up, but kind of like have a nice little area to do your work. To kind of, especially if you're recording something, like if you're recording something for like a video or something, it's really easy and it's really quiet in those nice little spaces because it kind of blocks out all the sound. It's kind of like a nice little like pod. So when my parents picked the school, we went around the virtual tour thing and it looked so amazing with how everything was positioned, how everything was presented. I thought that it was just an amazing school to go to because it's just so amazing.
So with General John Barry's vision, this was never intended to be just a single school. The purpose of Colorado Skies Academy was to serve as a model for development of hopefully many other Skies Academies throughout the country that can really change the trajectory and help assist the need in aviation and aerospace development going forward. So our firm belief is that it can serve as a great model on the community partnerships, partnerships with local districts and community and many other organizations that see the need not just in aerospace and industry, but in any other industry, that these innovative, creative educational models and schools can be created to address those needs.
We hope you enjoyed this look at the team who brought Colorado Skies Academy to life. Thank you for joining us today.